Now let's look at visual design principles. The visual design brings clarity to communicate with visual information, and it allows the viewer to understand an interface like a website or a mobile app or any type of physical item like an office bag or a wallet or a watch. Anything which is related to usability and visually appealing. Good visual design helps the user to complete their task easily and efficiently. Here is an example. Let's say you want to take out your credit card from your wallet. As a designer, you should come up with such a design which enables the user to perform the task easily and efficiently. So, in this video, we are going to look at 5 visual design principles that every designer should know of. They are scale, visual hierarchy, balance, contrast, and gestalt. These can have a huge impact on user experience. So let's understand every principle in depth with an example. So let's start with the scale. The scale principle is used when the most important elements in a design are bigger than the ones that are less important. The reason behind this principle is simple. When something is big, it is more likely to be noticed. For example, when you see this mobile screen, you can get an idea about the important elements in the screen, which is buy now button. This button is bigger and visually appealing, and it is different than the rest of the two. This is how the scale principle works and shows the importance of the buy now button on the mobile screen. Now let's talk about the visual hierarchy. The visual hierarchy refers to guiding the eye on the page so that the user can see different design elements in the order of their importance. Visual hierarchy can be implemented through variations in scale, value, color, spacing, placement, and a variety of other signals. Let's take an example. A trip planner app consists of 3 divisions: active, past, and upcoming. Here you can see there is a lot of importance to the active trip, which has occupied almost 50% of the screen, which refers to the user's attention on the active trips. So, this is how the visual hierarchy principle works. Now, let's talk about balance. The principle of balance refers to a satisfying arrangement or proportion of design elements. Balance occurs when there is an equally distributed amount of visual signals on both sides. Let's take an example. This is a snapshot of LinkedIn job page. In this, you can see the remote opportunities section. There are different visual elements which are actually the jobs posted by different companies. All those job postings have the same importance, which ensures balance in the remote opportunities section. And the next one is contrast. When visual design elements appear different, for example, having contrasting colors, users easily deduce that the contrasting item is different or special in some way. So, if it actually is different, this enhances usability. Let's check with an example. Here in this mobile screen, you can see the next button with more contrast than all the elements in this screen. This makes the button special in the entire screen. Now let's look at Gestalt principles. Gestalt principles are rules that describe how the human eye perceives visual elements. These principles aim to show how complex scenes can be reduced to more simple shapes. They also aim to explain how the human eyes perceive the shape as a single united form rather than the separate simpler elements involved in that. The first one is similarity. Similarity is also known as invariance. The human eye tends to build a relationship between similar elements within a design. Similarity can be achieved using basic elements such as shape, color, and size. Continuation. The human eye follows the paths, lines, and curves of a design and prefers to see a continuous flow of visual elements rather than the separated objects. The next one is closure. Closure is also known as reification. The human eye prefers to see complete shapes. If the visual elements are not complete, the user can perceive a complete shape by filling in the missing visual information. For example, IBM's logo comprise blue horizontal lines arranged in 3 stacks. All these lines neatly form the letters IBM. The logo of Worldwide Fund for Nature consists of a cluster of black shapes set against a white background to reveal the familiar form of a panda. The next Gestalt principle is proximity, which is also known as emergence. Simple shapes arranged together can create a more complex image. An example of proximity in design is the Girl Scouts logo. It has three faces clustered in profile, one green and two white. The next Gestalt principle is figure or ground, which is also known as multi-stability. The human eye isolates shapes from backgrounds, so we look for solid and stable items. Unless an image is ambiguous like the vase here, the first thing we see is its foreground. You can apply this figure or ground figure or ground principle in many ways, but chiefly to contrast elements. For example, light text with dark background. Here, light text is the figure, whereas dark background is the ground. The final Gestalt principle is symmetry. The design should be balanced and complete. Otherwise, the user will spend time and effort trying to perceive an overall picture. The Gestalt principles, when applied properly, helps us not only to create beautiful designs but also increases usability. These are the visual design principles which every designer should know.